When this fight was first announced, I said it was going to be 50-50. And then I watched Jarrell Miller's last 3 fights and I changed my mind. This fight is not a 50-50 fight at all. It's more like a 90-10 fight, provided that Daniel Dubois actually follows the correct game plan. So what I'm talking about is Jarrell Miller has literally one strategy, which is he comes forward like a refrigerator on wheels, weighing nearly 350 pounds, and he just goes straight into his opponent with no head movement, no foot movement. He just leans on them, and he tries to get off some combinations, and admittedly, he barely throws any punches per round on top of that. So he literally just goes in, absorbs punishment, and tries to land clubbing, and they are clubbing, shots that eventually put his opponent in a dangerous position because they're just getting wailed on by a guy who weighs as much as Canelo Alvarez and another Canelo Alvarez put together. Or to put it a different way, he outweighs Francis Ngannou by 70 pounds. So his weight, his size, it's an enormous problem to deal with. And that's really where Daniel Dubois has to focus his attention, because Miller literally comes forward like a train. And if you try and punch him off you, then you're just asking for trouble, because not only can he absorb your shots, but you put yourself completely in his range, which is the mid-range, for getting hit with these hooks. But as long as Daniel Dubois can avoid doing that, he's going to have an incredibly easy time winning this fight. And I'm serious. If you go back and look at Jarrell Miller against Lucas Brown, and you look at his fights, the fight in Tennessee against the opponent whose name I can't remember, and the fight in Argentina, again, against the opponent whose name I don't recall. But if you look at those 3 fights, it's literally painful, the quality of the opposition that he's fighting. I mean, Lucas Brown is the most well-known of those 3 names. And he was so out of shape, so out of condition, so overweight, he could barely even keep standing in the ring just because of fatigue. And Jarrell Miller still wasn't exactly having an easy time. It's just because the guy is built like a tank, and it's very hard to get rid of him, number one. And number two, if you stand right in front of him, he's going to be able to wail on you and put you in trouble. But it's literally as simple as that. If you can move at all, you're going to have a field day against Jarrell Miller. And so what Daniel Dubois needs to do is he needs to be able to attack Jarrell from angles, and he needs to make Miller move, because if Daniel Dubois does that, make no mistake, Miller is going to become fatigued very quickly, because his enormous size is going to mean that every time he misses with a shot, it's going to cause him to get tired and get more tired and get more tired. And Daniel Dubois is going to be able to keep attacking from angles and just pick him apart. It's really, really that simple. The only way he gets in trouble here is if he decides to stand directly in front of Jarrell Miller and try and keep him off him by backing up and just punching to try and keep Miller at bay. That's not going to work, because the guy's huge and your punches are just going to be absorbed, because not only is he fat, but he's got a ton of muscle underneath there. So just trying to punch him off you, number one, isn't going to work. And number two, forget about targeting the head when it comes to Jarrell Miller either, because he's very durable and his head's a smaller target. And his defense, by the way, is really not that good. So it's much more efficient to target the body while moving around the outside, pivoting around him, target the body, make him miss, and the combination of targeting his body, making him miss, and his huge size, it's going to mean that he tires out. So as long as Daniel Dubois avoids standing in front of Miller, can move around the ring, attack him from angles, and make use of Miller's huge bulk to tire him out, he's going to have a field day, and he's going to win this fight easily. And for anybody who's surprised by this prediction, I honestly encourage you, go back and look at Jarrell Miller's last 3 fights. Honestly, look at the quality of opposition in those fights and tell me that the best version of Daniel Dubois does not easily beat the Jarrell Miller that you see in those. To me, it's really incomprehensible that Dubois loses this unless he stands directly in front of Jarrell Miller and tries to exchange. Because if he does that, then yes, there is a possibility that he loses, especially because Daniel Dubois has quit not once, but twice, and he also got knocked down 3 times in a single round against Kevin Lorena. So there is precedent for Daniel Dubois getting stopped, absolutely, and there is a chance that that will happen again, but only if he doesn't follow a smart game plan. If he boxes, if he moves, and if he makes Miller miss, this is going to be an easy victory for Daniel Dubois. And in that sense, I feel like it's very smart matchmaking, because I, like a lot of other people, I think, heard the name Jarrell Miller and thought, wow, that's a risky fight for Daniel coming off those losses to Joyce not that long ago, the loss to Usyk, and the bad performance against Kevin Lerena. But if you actually look at the fights in the ring, I expect this one to play out much more similar to Trevor Bryan against Daniel Dubois, where Daniel Dubois used his movement, his speed, and he just completely outboxed Trevor Bryan. And I think he will do the same thing to Jarrell Miller unless he completely loses his mind and tries to stand and trade with him. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. But for me, this is going to be a very, very easy victory for Daniel Dubois. If you think I'm wrong, if you think Jarrell Miller is going to take this, let me know why in the comments. I'm looking forward to this fight regardless. I think both guys do deserve a lot of credit for taking it. I'm looking forward to the 23rd, and I will catch you guys in the next video.